Hi and welcome to the Formula 1 Crypto.com Miami Grand Prix sprint race. As you can see, lovely view here in Miami. Wet sprint race, interesting. There's the track. It's a difficult track. You've got they've got a couple of long straight sectors. Sector 1's difficult with all the fast speed corners, and then you've got a couple of straights, and then there's another tricky sector before the really long straight. And there's the grid anyway. There's Verstappen and Piastri on the front row. Sainz and Alonso on the second row, all Spanish second row. Third row of Hamilton and Norris. 7th Stroll, decent qualifier from Stroll. 8th Russell, 9th Leclerc. 10th Perez. 11th and 12th, both Alpines. Magnussen 13th, Tsunoda 14th. Ricciardo 15th, Bottas 16th. Hulkenberg 17th. Logan Sargent 18th, and a back row of Zhou Guanyu and Alex Albon. Not often you see him right at the back of the grid there. And as you can see, it looks to me like it's probably going to be intermediate weather to start with. Well, I guess we'll find out soon. Yeah, this should be an interesting one, just because yeah, we're going to have wet conditions. Look at that, absolutely pouring down with rain. More views of the circuit. I think that's the football ground in the middle of the circuit. Anyway, here we go. And it's lights out, and we are underway with the Miami sprint race. 10 laps. Oh, 3 wide through turn 1. Alonso struggling a little bit there. Stroll up to 5th. All changed down the bottom as well. Verstappen got away really well. Fernando's managed to hold on to 4th position. You can see you can see the line there. You've got to stick to that like glue, really. You're taking a big risk as Alonso goes through on Carlos Sainz, the 3rd position. You watch Lance Stroll, who's also trying to pass Carlos Sainz. We'll look at the start again, and yeah, it was a really good start from Lance. Fernando just boxed in on the inside, could have took both positions. Maybe a little touch there, looks like. But yeah, Lance Stroll up into 5th position with a terrific start. Back live now, and yeah, it's Carlos Sainz looking to attack. Fernando doing a good job for his teammate Lance Stroll there, just holding Sainz up enough so that Lance Stroll can get through. And yeah, he's had to give up the position. There's a tricky chicane, and it's a left-hander down to the really long straight. I assume there's not going to be any DRS. It's too wet for that. Oh, Alonso with a little bit of a swerve there. Very difficult conditions. Not too much spray though, so that could be at least beneficial. You know, you've got decent visibility rather than, you know, you can't see 2 feet in front of you when there's a car there. We'll start lap 2 now, and Max seems to have pulled away a little bit. Remember, Max had an awful Chinese Grand Prix with the DNF. So he's looking to take maximum points from this weekend. currently standing second in the championship, Max Verstappen. Lando Norris is currently first. Sainz dropped back from Lance Stroll a little bit there, and Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris right on the back. So is Russell and Perez as well. Charles Leclerc down in 10th. It's a very strong top 10. It is the top 10 that you probably expect. Hamilton now side by side with Carlos Sainz. I think Sainz with the inside line is just going to be able to squeeze. Although Hamilton's coming back, he's got the inside line on the right-hander. Looks like he might get through here. Is he going to be able to hold that position? Yes, Sainz has dropped down to now 6th position from 3rd. Terrible start there for the Ferrari driver. And Lewis Hamilton, as I mentioned, moves up to 5th. Carlos Sainz not enjoying the wet conditions here at Miami. Quite surprised to see that, but Ferrari's not really doing any work. We've got Leclerc down in 10th too. Very difficult. From an Aston Martin point of view, as we watch Alonso in 3rd position, with Stroll behind in 4th. Stroll has dropped back a little bit. But Lance Stroll needs to start picking up these points, getting good finishes. If there's any chance of Aston Martin winning the Constructors' title, it's not going to be easy. Of course not. But with the improvements that have been made to that car, I imagine that Lance will be more competitive at least. Up to 1st position, and we see Max Verstappen dominating right now. And I imagine we'll be dominating for most of this race. He looks head and shoulders above everyone else right now at this minute. He was in 1st in China though, although he didn't really pull away from Charles Leclerc, I believe it was. And then just from there, it was all downhill. But he's having a better time of it today at least. Oscar Piastri, last few races, has been looking to stamp his authority down as being the #1 driver for the McLarens. I know Lando is leading the championship, but Oscar Piastri is doing a great job for the team. As to say, McLaren might be the favourites for the Constructors' title, because Sergio Perez is not really doing any favours, much like Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin, and I'm not sure that the Ferraris or the Mercedes are quite on that same level as the McLaren team right now. So I'd probably put McLaren as favourites for the Constructors. I still don't think you can look past Max for the Drivers' title. We are at Miami. It's still relatively early in the season, and there's only a small gap between Lando and Max in terms of the Drivers' Championship. So back up to Lance Stroll here, who's in a bit of no man's land, but that's not the worst thing in the world during wet conditions. You know, it's just the overtake is difficult anyway, but in wet conditions, it's almost impossible. If you can't get in front off the start, then it's extremely difficult to pass. Because, like here, for instance, you see Fernando in 3rd and Oscar in 2nd. Fernando would normally have DRS there, but he hasn't, so it's very difficult for him to catch. He's had a little look, but he's not close enough. Being 3/10 down in dry conditions is not a lot. 3/10 is very difficult to get the pass in these sort of conditions. Still raining, but it looks like the track's drying up a little bit. We've got a replay here of Danny Ricciardo, and that doesn't look good. State of that. That's the RB out of the race, I believe, I would assume, with all that smoke coming out of the car, that he's done. He's finished for the day. So, back to Lance Stroll. Lewis has closed the gap a little bit. We're coming up to about halfway through this sprint race. Of course, sprint race rules are that there is no mandatory pit stop, whereas in a full race or feature race, whatever you want to call it, you obviously have to pit at least once during dry conditions. Also, the rules of wet conditions is if at any point there's rain, whether it's to start the race or whatever, you don't have to pit in. As we see Lando trying to make a move on Lewis here. Lewis is going to have to back out, yeah, and Lando gets through into 5th position. Good news for Lance Stroll that those two are battling. I would imagine that Lando's got the performance in the car over Lance Stroll, but it's not going to be easy to pass. That line seems to be getting a little bit drier. Is Lewis going to have a look here? Is he going to... No, he's just staying in behind, you see. It's difficult, risky, very risky. But the thing is, if this track dries up... easy for me to say. If this track dries up really quickly, then you have to make a decision. It's still raining. It seems to have eased off slightly. Of course, with 20 cars, now 19 because of Danny Ricciardo's problem with his engine, going over the same line constantly and consistently over and over and over again. That makes, with the heat generated, it's going to dry this section, this line up, and if it dries quicker than the rain puts moisture back down on the track, then at some point you've got to think about tyres. With only 4 laps to go, it would be a huge risk. Even if and there's Sainz and Russell battling, by the way. Sainz down into 7th. I think he was down in 8th for a second there. George Russell not getting the best out of the Mercedes. But yeah, if this was a full Grand Prix, then you'd have to be thinking, like, at what point is the crossover? I think because there's so few laps left, if you pit in, it's a huge risk, because if everybody else doesn't, then you're in trouble. You're going to finish a long way down. I think that's the battle for 4th there between Lance Stroll. He's backed everyone up. Is that Lance? Yeah, he's like, oh my word. He's backed everyone up there. I think Norris lost out. Norris went down to 7th position. Oh no. Down into 19th, which is last out of the runners, the people that are still in the race. Lance Stroll overcooked it. Let's have a replay of this. So he goes into the corner. Oh, he just loses the back end. So easy to do in these conditions. And look, Norris, Lando gets absolutely blocked off here. Ends up down in 7th position. It's a big one to lose out, and yeah, that's really sad, that, for Lance. Oh, and Fernando just about keeping it under control there. And his Aston Martin, not the best car in these conditions. You see Oscar's managed to pull away a little bit. Now Hamilton leads the chasing pack here in 4th position. Carlos Sainz has managed to get up into 5th with that incident with Lance. And we've got George Russell in 6th. Lando in 7th with Perez and Leclerc behind. We've got another replay here, and this is Kevin Magnussen. Oh, another one, look. Oh, and he's blocked Sonoda. Oh, he's blocked everybody there. I'm surprised that's not a safety car. That's a bad spin there from K-Mag. These conditions, yep. Those tyres must be quite worn. You see, there's not a lot of moisture on the track. And then you go off the line to where there is moisture, and yep, you're going to lose control of the back end. George Russell now looking to get a bit of a helping hand from his teammate Lewis Hamilton, so he can get past Carlos Sainz. Easier to defend with two against Sainz than it would be just Lewis. I'm sure Lewis isn't actually thinking about that. He'll just be thinking, I just need to finish my race, and I'll race my race and do what I do, and then we'll worry about everything else afterwards. He has pulled out a little bit of a gap on Carlos Sainz. There's Lando Norris. Pretty much nowhere right now. Faster than Perez. But yeah, he was very unfortunate to be held up with the incident with Lance Stroll. He was up into 15th. That Magnussen incident benefited him there. But yeah, it's quite an unfortunate race for Lance. The battle for the final points position, by the way, between Ocon and Gasly, teammates here. Logan Sargent up into 12th as well. You know the two Alpine drivers are not going to hold back. They don't care about team orders. They're going to fully go for it. So from their point of view, hopefully they don't have an incident. But from our point of view, watching, I hope they do have an incident. I hope they smash each other to bits and it causes absolute chaos. I think Lewis is just too far back now. You know, when lap 9 of 10 and 4th position it's going to be. All he's got to do is keep his car pointed in the right direction for maybe a lap and 3 quarters. You can see him go through that past sector 1, and it's a double left-hander. And we've got quite a. This is actually a DRS zone when it's dry. And then we get into the middle sector of the track, and this is where it gets tough. This is where it gets tricky. So that you see, go left-hander. He's got to finish this straight. I told you this straight is quite long, as we see. Oh, George Russell trying to get past Sainz. We've got a right-hander, then another. This one's a long right-hander, and then we've got the horrible chicane coming up in a second. There it is, and Carlos Sainz manages to defend against George Russell. Then we've got the 90-degree left-hander into the very long straight, which is again another DRS zone in dry conditions. You can see the rear wing of George Russell not opening right now, just because DRS will not be enabled due to the conditions on the track. Looking at Alonso cam on the bottom left-hand corner there of your screen. If you want to keep track of Alonso and his progress throughout the race, that is the dedicated camera for Fernando. But as it is, lap 10 of 10, Max Verstappen looks to have won this race with ease just from the start. I think because Oscar, Carlos and Fernando all went 3 wide into turn 1. They all kind of had to slow each other. They slowed down too much. You know, they didn't want to get into an incident on turn 1. Not during a sprint race, because that's your race over there. even if you can recover. But if you have to pit in with any damage, that's it. But yeah, so those three going 3 wide massively helped Max Verstappen, and he's won this race with ease. There you go, he's coming over the line, and he will be the winner of the sprint race with Oscar Piastri second. Fernando Alonso looking for that last podium position. He's going to get it. It's going to be quite an easy one for him, that. Yeah. Hamilton 4th, Sainz 5th. Russell couldn't get past Sainz. Norris closed the gap at the end, so still only good enough for 7th though. Perez in 8th. Leclerc gets a 9th position, but it's a sprint race. I said earlier that Ocon and Gasly were battling for a point. It's a sprint race. I forgot there's only eight drivers that score points, but there you go. There's your point scorer. Logan Sargent got driver of the day, which yeah, great stuff. 18th to 12th, had a really good race. And we see the current drivers standings. Max Verstappen now on equal points with Lando Norris, but with more race wins. Fernando Alonso cementing 3rd position as it stands. He's got a good 14 points on Charles in 4th position. And there's the constructors standings. McLaren leading by 4 points so early on in the season that it's any of those top 5 right now could win it. But I think realistically it will be between McLaren and Red Bull, and probably McLaren are the favourites. Anyway, that's the end of this current stream for the sprint race. We'll see you soon for the main feature race. Thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you to Game and Crypto for letting me commentate on this stream. And of course, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you could subscribe to the channel, that would be amazing.